This is Will. I'm a strength coach at Liberty University. I just wanted to share some thoughts I had about some programming stuff that I went into. My background is in all sports and training in a private sector where you don't have a lot of control of a lot of things. They just kind of show up, and you get to work in whenever they're there, and you work pretty hard while they're there to make sure you get the most out of it. Especially with the high school athlete. With the collegiate and professional, it's a little bit different. Those things are all different, but it's kind of whenever you're there, we're making the most of it type deal. So now I'm in the collegiate setting, and it's a little bit different. We have a lot of control over a lot of things, and there's a lot of different ways to do things. And I just wanted to share some thought processes I had about how I load manage and what I need to do to get the best results from them with all the other stuff going on. Because I don't want to be the star of what's going on. I don't want myself to be the most important thing that they do. I want this to be something enjoyable. I want the weight room to be a place where they know they're going to get better for their sport, and not just going to be being sore is not the goal necessarily, but getting after it obviously in different ways from a regeneration day standpoint, or a finish Friday standpoint, or a rotational power set standpoint. We got to make sure we're focusing on the right things to help them be the best that they can be. So I just wanted to go over a thought process that I had and something that I tried this past fall. I got through about halfway through, and both my sports, context of my sports, I got softball. I have two tennis teams, and I have golf. And tennis especially, there's no really off season for them. Maybe in the summer, but I can't touch them really much in the summer. So really, like the fall, they have probably 4 or 5 tournaments that they do in the fall, which is basically part of the season. So their off season is super different. Softball's a little more has stuff as fall ball, but they're more consistent. And what I was noticing was that, let's just being honest, is that I was used to be able to put people through a lot of work doing certain things, and I was noticing that I was not able to do that. The amount of work that I was wanting them to get done from a GPP standpoint, from a foundation standpoint, it wasn't helpful. So I knew I needed something different. I wasn't seeing the results I wanted to, even not from an injury standpoint, just from a freshness standpoint. So I didn't think we're building on top of good sessions. About probably 5-6 weeks in. At first, it's fine. For the first 5-6 weeks or whatever, we're good. But it was just we weren't building on consistency. It may have been just in the middle of school, maybe not been anything I'd done or wasn't doing, but I just didn't like it. So I wanted to go over something that I tried. So traditionally, we have like a linear periodization. So for example, like in week 1 I have to lift 2 times a week. So you may have a deadlift one day, and then you may have a squat the next day. And then traditionally, so if you're trying to get stronger, traditionally the intensity goes up and the volume goes down traditionally. So and you're doing the same exercise, so you're building on top of it. You may deload, or Altus does this thing where they do 2 weeks and then deload the third. It's up to you. But I wasn't seeing what I was seeing from that, so I decided to do something different. I took the principle of movement, variability. And I said, I think this is going to be way more important overall, long term, than me just focus on trying to get better at a certain exercise. So instead of me focus on I have to make sure they get better at deadlift, I have to make sure they're better at squat, I kind of threw that away, and I was like, I want to make sure I get pushes, lower body, I do single leg, double leg. And I get my lower body pulls, single leg, double leg. Upper body, I want to make sure I push, single arm, double arm. Horizontal and vertical planes, pull, same thing, upper body and horizontal vertical weight as well. So I want to make so there's another background too thing is I only lift 2 days a week, and then those weight room sessions, Mondays and Fridays typically, off season, and those days I also have rotational power sets in there as well. So really I'm lifting like 20-30 minutes, and with the only time that I had, I thought I had to get certain things in. But instead of focus on the exercise, I focus on the movements. And so I made sure I got this on. So instead of doing this, I went and did this instead. So I started in the middle of stability phase, block 1. So instead of doing like trap bar, day 1, day 8, and then day 16, 7, 15, whatever, I did trap bar, and you wouldn't do trap bar again until day 13, 14, 15. So you're doing a trap bar, landmine. So we're doing a single arm press, a single leg pull, and I've got my linear movements, regen days, and then change direction movement on day 4, and then I'm a single leg push, double arm push, single arm pull, and then an SFT movement as well, because I've got to make sure I get those in as well. So some type of SFT strength movement has to be in there as well. Then I've got we got another single leg push that I wanted to do. I usually put the single leg pull there, but I moved it over. I switched those so I wouldn't go super heavy hamstring with the barbell glute bridge up, single arm dumbbell bridge and pull ups, and then I switched it over there. So the biggest thing was one is that I really didn't burn people out on certain exercise. Like, actually they're pretty fresh the entire time that we did this. I had a couple days, and so if they had a game on a weekend, all we do is we just push it back a little bit, but it would still stay the same. Using training residuals, I can keep max speed around 5 days plus or minus 3 of those days. With max strength though, if I've trained it, which I did the first few weeks, if I've trained the idea of strength, then I'm able to keep that up to 30 days. So really, I'm pretty set here. Like, I don't have to focus on necessarily trying to focus on an exercise, but I'm focusing on the movement variability, and that's allowing me to get the strength that I want from a totally athletic standpoint, and also while not increasing the load too much and people getting not getting better on exercise. But I actually had people jump up 40, 50, 60 pounds at a time waiting 2 weeks, whether that was from just not being used to exercise or being new or what. But I had people gain 40, 50, 60, maybe 100 pounds in maybe 2 or 3 blocks with taking a break in between. So it wasn't just going up 5 pounds. Some of course did that because they already knew what they could do, or they're just were already strong, so they didn't have to get their strength deficit wasn't as further as everybody else. But I had people do that because they felt comfortable with it. It wasn't something that was pushing them out of the zone, they were getting tired of it, but it was something that would pop up every 2 weeks, and so it allowed me to make more of an emphasis on when we did have it. And so I definitely liked it a lot more